Testing one, testing one, two.
Testing. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to what is our second day of public interviews for the Southern University Law Center Chancellor position. Yesterday, you heard from two candidates that are finalists for this position, and today you will hear from our final candidate. This candidate is an external candidate, so this morning I would like for y'all to help welcome Ms. Jalila Jefferson Bullock to the Southern University Law Center. As we stated on yesterday, these interviews are part of the process that we committed to when we started this, to not only be transparent, but to be inclusive. We wanted to make sure that all stakeholders, our students, our faculty, alumni, legal community, all had the opportunity to be a part of this process. And we believe that inclusion allows for us to get the best product to help lead the Southern University Law Center going forward. And I'm Joshua Hollins. I've had the privilege of serving as co-chair of this committee. And I've been doing that with the great leadership of my other co-chair, Mr. Alejandro Perkins, who I'll turn it over to.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, before we get started, thank you all for everybody who attended yesterday. I think what you are hearing is that we have brought some of the most qualified people here to pursue this position of being the chancellor of the law school. But in doing this work, we could not do it without having the committee that was formed by President Shields and the chairman of the board. And that committee has been doing a tremendous amount of work for the past 8 months. That committee is sitting on the front row. Professor Oko, Ms. Gaines, Ms. Monroe, Ms. Burgess, and Ms. Parker are all here today. We have a couple of our members that are not here today, but they have put in a lot of work, a lot of time in trying to ensure that the future of this law school is in good hands. And I think the candidates that we have brought here for you all to listen to are candidates that you can feel comfortable with. Now, we have a group of people that are on Zoom. I heard that the Zoom thing was growing and growing and growing as far as people participating. We welcome you too on the Zoomers. Also, just so you know, we have a QR code on the door and also online that allows you to offer comments that you may want to put as relates to these interviews. We will start off with an introduction. After the introduction, we'll go into approximately about a 10-minute, no more than 10-minute presentation for PowerPoint. Then after that, we're going to questions and answer. And that will last approximately about 30 minutes. And then we will have a closing remarks by the candidate. So that is the run of show as of today. That being said, thank you all for joining us here this morning. All the faculty and staff that I see you all here present, thank you all too for your participation and interest in this process. Thank you.
At this time, we'll turn it over to Ms. Jefferson Bullock. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you about my interest in leading Southern University Law Center as your next chancellor. It is truly an honor to have this opportunity to share with you my vision for the Law Center's bright future. I am very excited about the possibility of working with all of you to build upon SULC's tremendous legacy and to elevate SULC's position as the leader in providing access to groups who have historically been denied the opportunity to attend law school, and as the leader in training a cadre of lawyers equipped to be leaders in the law through its impactful programs, faculty scholarship, and student and graduate success. Before turning to my vision for the law school, I'd like to begin with a story. And that story is the story of me and how my interests and experiences and values intersect with the story of you, such that I find myself here in this moment, standing before you to express why I want to be chancellor of Southern University Law Center. I was raised in New Orleans to a family with a sustained commitment to civil rights, who held a firm belief in the transformative power of education, and a conviction that Black people have a responsibility to work for the uplift of our community. Of the many civil rights warriors in my family, I would like to speak briefly about one, my beloved grandmother, Angeline Harris Jefferson. I remember listening to my grandmother, my father's mother, tell me of how she taught Black people in her hometown in rural Northeast Louisiana to read so that they could pass the literacy test forced upon them before they were afforded their constitutional right to vote. My grandmother understood that education was crucial and that as a Black woman who could read and write, she had a duty to serve those in her community who had been kept from those same opportunities. It is particularly noteworthy that my grandmother was not an educated woman. She only made it to the 8th grade. Yet her belief in the power of education was so firm and so foundational that she gave that gift to her children, and that gift literally lifted them out of poverty and into a life of service. From her and the other outstanding people who raised me, I learned to respect the power of education, and I learned that the law has the real power to change lives. This realization has informed every aspect of my life, and it is ultimately why I stand before you today. The desire to have a career where I'd be equipped to tackle societal injustices and a belief in the transformative power of the law, the power to change lives and to change society for the better is what led me to law school. As I thought about my own future in the law, I knew that I wanted to have a career of impact, and most importantly, one of using the law to find solutions to today's problems. During my formative years, growing up in New Orleans, spending time in Lake Providence, Louisiana, and visiting family and friends everywhere in between in our great state, I grew up with a clear understanding that systems were not established to be equal, and that there were many with an interest in keeping them that way. And that for those who have historically faced oppression, we had to take the lead in organizing, in educating, in innovating, and in demanding change. I didn't have the privilege of attending Southern University, but I had a large number of aunts, uncles, and cousins who received wonderful educations here and who are enjoying the benefits of their experiences at Southern. As a member of the Louisiana Bar, I also practice and have enjoyed strong relationships with alums of the Law Center and know how excellent their work is, both those at the bar and on the bench. As a former member of the Louisiana House of Representatives from New Orleans and a member of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus, I was blessed to serve on the Appropriations Committee, where I fought alongside stellar SULC alums, people like Congressman Cleo Fields, Senator Charles Jones, to fund Southern University and the Law Center as best we could. But my most important connection with Southern is that both my parents graduated from undergraduate school here, Mama and Daddy. In their senior years, were campus leaders. Daddy as student government president, Mama as Miss Southern. And Daddy calls the highest point of his legal career his service as the lead lawyer for the Southern University systems, which forged a consent decree and prevented the merger of Southern University and LSU law schools. So I want you to know, as I begin my talk today, that my roots and connections to Southern run very deep. Therefore, I feel a very powerful obligation to do all I can to secure the Law Center as a strong force to produce highly able lawyers in abundant numbers, committed to justice and equality, far into the future, should I be selected as its next chancellor. Southern University has a long history and mission of providing access, educating highly skilled lawyers, and engaging as an institution in the active pursuit of solutions to the legal, social, economic, and political problems that are of particular concern to Black people and other minority groups. That mission is why I'm here before you today with excitement about the possibility of being Southern University Law Center's next chancellor. Let us be very clear. Today's legal, social, economic, and political problems abound. They are abundant. So much of the progress made in the last several decades, progress in which this law center's professors and graduates had a key role in shaping, that progress is under attack today. We certainly see a clear backlash against hard-won battles for racial equality. My career as a lawyer, teacher, scholar, and administrative leader has been focused on using the law to create equitable systems. And I am convinced that in this moment, our nation needs Southern University Law Center. I believe that so many of the answers to today's challenges can continue to come from the minds of this law center's professors, students, and graduates, supported by SULC staff, administrators, and the broader community. And it would be my great honor to work on behalf of this institution to propel it forward in that mission. Before I relay my vision for SULC, however, I want to note that the most important thing I would do as Chancellor is listen carefully and learn from each of you about what this community believes is needed to advance this institution. As Chancellor, my job would be to make realizing our collective vision a reality. Undergirding this brief vision talk is the theme, Southern University, Strength for the Future. This vision consists of three main commitments. Commitment one is an unwavering commitment to student success, including successes in bar preparation and supporting excellence in the teaching of doctrinal, clinical, and legal writing courses in a manner that enhances our mission and to provide access and opportunity to a diverse group of students and train them for the practice of law and for positions of leadership in society. Commitment two, a commitment to supporting rigorous and impactful legal scholarship in a rich intellectual environment and promoting that scholarship to encourage national and international influence. And commitment number three, a commitment to fundraising to support the unique mission of Southern University Law Center and build upon its current successes. As I describe these commitments to you further, I may say we or our, and I do not mean to be presumptuous. I just want to convey that I am sincerely very excited about the possibility of joining this community and want to speak to you in the way that I would if I am selected to be your next chancellor. First, my commitment to student success. Student success is the key to any law school success. A law school is only as strong as its students. To have strength for the future, we must invest in our students today. If this law center's students are not successful during their time in law school, then it is impossible to carry out a mission of educating excellent attorneys who will be the next generation of leaders in the law. Students will be driven to enroll in SULC if they have a clear understanding that they will receive high-quality training in the law and that the environment of the law school supports them in the pursuit of that training. A lawyer trained at SULC, one that gives us strength for the future, is not only one that is trained to respond to today's particular challenges, but also one that sets the example for what lawyers can do in any setting. Whether we place students in government positions, the judiciary, public interest, or even corporate spaces with intentional mission-centered training, this law center's lawyers will transform the space to one that increases justice and equity because that is the environment in which they learn in the lens through which they receive their legal education. This law center students will be empowered to thrive. So, enhancing clinical offerings, augmenting the already robust doctrinal curriculum, centering legal writing and academic success programs, supporting student services, and all of those things are critical components of a strong, healthy law school. However, make no mistake about this, bar passage success is key. Students will refuse to attend SULC if they do not believe that with this education, they are poised to pass the bar examination. Likewise, accreditation requires continued, steady, and respectable bar passage rates. Today's accrediting bodies require more of us. They are different. They are more critical. That means that we must be more excellent. We must be ready. Bar preparation should start for our students on day one and should be woven into the curriculum. There are many ways to build bar preparation into a curriculum that will supplement, rather than sacrifice, current curricular strengths, and the ability to produce good lawyers, not just good test takers. This is an area where I'm very proud of the success I've had as a valued member of my current institution. When Wayne State Law's bar pass rate dropped to an alarmingly low level, I was called upon to join a committee to address the issue. Working collaboratively with faculty, staff, and students, our team effectively managed budget priorities and were able to find resources to invest in bar readiness tools so that students could have access to bar-like questions as early as their first semester in law school. These sorts of programs are meant to supplement and support the learning done in doctrinal courses. Learning from students and working with my school's academic success and bar prep teams, we developed a data-driven, evidence-based bar success program. And it's been hugely successful. With the last bar exam administration, students who participated in the program passed at higher levels. With their success, the school's latest bar pass far surpassed the state average. I would give the same sort of effort, attention to data, and creativity to work with academic success and bar prep teams here at SULC to establish institutional programs and practices to sustain strong bar passage rates for our graduates. Let me turn to my second commitment, a commitment to supporting rigorous and impactful legal scholarship, teaching, and a rich intellectual environment in order to strengthen the faculty and support the larger mission. Scholarship is extremely important and is the lifeblood of any academic institution. It informs teaching, it raises the profile of the school and the profile of individual professors, and it adds to the legal discourse on important matters. In my vision, SULC will be the regular go-to place for research and commentary on today's pressing issues of import to the Black community and to any areas of the law where equal justice for all is threatened. I've had the benefit of working at various institutions that were very supportive of scholarship. So I come with strong examples of how to support and cultivate an active scholarly culture. My job as chancellor would be to find spaces to promote the school's distinct mission and identity, to work with all of you on finding synergies in the work being done here that shows the mission in action, and reprioritizing resources to create that stage. I have created this sort of stage at my current school by bringing mission-enhancing scholarly conferences to the school. For instance, through connections I established as co-director of my institution's Civil Rights and Social Justice Center, I recently helped to organize an anti-racist writing retreat, which was a fantastic opportunity to highlight my faculty colleagues' scholarship and collaborate with other legal scholars in the area, all while promoting the center and its work. I also launched a film series through the center that highlights documentary work focusing on alternatives to incarceration. It allows for scholarly discourse on those topics and educates the larger community. Forging these sorts of networks and connections here ensures that SULC remains in the conversation as an important leader in the legal advances taking place in this city, the region, and the nation. We want the larger community and stakeholders asking, what's happening next at SULC? Or thinking, we should have this event at Southern's Law Center, or we want SULC to be our partner in this endeavor because this is the type of issue they really care about there. Enhancing the Law Center's scholarly profile can only help execute the larger vision of strength for the future. It is also important to note that I am and plan to remain an active scholar. In the institutions in which I have taught, I have been blessed to be recognized as both Teacher of the Year and as Faculty Scholar of the Year, based on my publications in major law review journals and legal journals. In my scholarship on criminal sentencing, policing, and anti-racism, I advanced strategies for eradicating the effects of racism on law enforcement and punishment approaches. As Chancellor of SULC, I would continue to be a leading voice on these issues, and I would, as I do now, use any platform I gain to advance the work of my colleagues. However, just as scholars benefit from development opportunities, so do teachers. Thus, I'm committed to supporting the ongoing development of excellent teachers at the Law Center by working with the vice chancellors to offer programming related to teaching methodologies such as formative assessment and active learning. Doing so could improve students' academic performance and enhance the culture of teaching excellence that already exists at the Law Center. For it is often the law school's curricular offerings and programs that distinguishes it from its competitors, enhances its national reputation among peers in the profession, and attracts high-quality students and faculty. But most importantly, I would listen and I would learn. I would talk with faculty to determine their specific concerns and needs, and would consult best practices to find solutions that are right for this law center. Just as I'm committed to supporting scholarly endeavors, I'm equally committed to incentivizing and rewarding such academic endeavors through the provision of course development leaves, summer stipends, administrative support, honors, chairs, and travel funds to attend conferences. This brings me to my third and final component of my vision for SULC, a commitment to raising the financial resources needed to support, maintain, and enhance the law school's programs and to recruit the nation's brightest and most talented students and faculty aligned with our mission. Strength for the future, progress, requires investment. I am excited about fundraising on behalf of SULC because it will give me the opportunity to share all the amazing things that are already happening at this law center. And it will allow me to forge partnerships to realize our collective vision going forward. No matter the talents of the faculty, the staff, or students, all of whom are extremely talented here, financial resources are needed to ensure the continued excellence of the law center. Resources are needed to recruit, hire, and retain great people, including faculty, students, and staff. Resources are needed to support curricular innovations, student services, faculty scholarship, the library, conferences, workshops, programming, faculty chairs and professorships, and so much more. I was a member of the State House Appropriations Committee and understand how to navigate with our legislators, particularly Black Caucus members, to maximize the award of state grants and appropriations. But considering the current economic challenges facing the Law Center specifically and legal education more broadly in our state's financing, as Chancellor, I will be strategic and intentional as I work with all of you in encouraging all of us to strengthen our thinking and reach to identify and pursue funding opportunities. And there are so many to choose from. Our task is to grow together and gain strength for the future together. As legal educators, yes, we are in the business of educating and training lawyers, but that is not the extent of our capacity. We are also in the business of teaching law more broadly, which enables us to increase access and have more impact on a variety of learners such as master's students, mid-career professionals, post-baccalaureate students, executives, and even undergraduates throughout our academic programs. As Chancellor, I would continue to support the successful programs that the Law Center currently offers, and I would also work with all of you to explore additional post and non-JD programs that can advance the missions and goals of the institution, particularly those that may offer cross-disciplinary opportunities with other units on campus in furtherance of university goals. Obviously, such new programs require support and resources, as do other teaching innovations, such as the creation of increased online summer courses to provide greater options for students who may wish to work while also taking classes. In talking with potential donors, it's important to stress that they're not making a gift, they're making an investment. They're not giving to a scholarship fund, they're investing in a program that will allow SULC strength for the future. They're not funding a faculty award or endowed chair, they're investing in the scholars who are being sought after because their research has real life impact. Successful development requires listening to potential donors to learn about their passions and interests. It requires educating them about the wonderful things going on at the Law Center, the institution's priorities, and ways they can help the institution achieve its goals. It requires possessing good and accurate knowledge about their potential level of giving. When these three things come together, listening, educating, and possessing information, it makes for successful fundraising opportunities. I successfully employed this approach while serving as a board member for various nonprofit institutions. In those capacities, I built enduring relationships between donors and organizations by listening to donors' interests and communicating to them the organization's missions and goals, thereby contributing to their decision to use their resources to help support the organization. I will employ the same approach as Chancellor of SULC. I've also successfully employed this approach on a larger scale as well. As a candidate for elected office, I had to raise my own money in order to run. In order to do so well, I listened to donors' interests, effectively communicated my platform to them, and then found connectivity contributing to their decision to use their resources to support me. I will employ this same approach as SULC. Whether it be for endowed funds, annual giving contributions, unrestricted or planned gifts, you can count on me to always make the ask. And in doing so, I will rely on you, the faculty, staff, students, and community members to serve as valuable partners in development. Your stories of accomplishments, scholarship, positive experiences, and beneficial initiatives will help inform potential donors and community partners about the excellence of SULC and how they can contribute to the advancement of the institution. I've now talked about student success, faculty development fundraising, and I'll conclude where we started, with an emphasis on mission. I grew up understanding my responsibility to serve and to fight for justice for others. It is what inspired me to pursue a legal career and to ultimately become a sentencing scholar. My vision of a lawyer growing up was the person who fought to oppose the voting literacy test that my paternal grandmother prepared people to take. And I knew that education was the key to me getting there one day. I feel incredibly fortunate to have had amazing educational opportunities, and I want to give back by working to provide an educational pathway for others to be lawyers of service, lawyers of transformation, lawyers who are leaders. It will be my honor to work with Southern University Law Center in the transformational effort to solidify its place as the premier school of access to deserving students and the regional, national, and even international platform for advancing the social and legal change that is so needed today. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention.
Thank you, Attorney Jefferson Bullock. At this time, we will ask you, the committee will ask you several questions, asking you formulated by both the committee and all the students, staff, and faculty as well. So the first question I'll ask you is the first commitment that you had in your presentation was around you talked a lot about bar passage rate. Based upon what you understand so far, what do you think is limiting the law center's bar passage rate, and what are some of the ideas that you believe will help improve said bar?
Sure. So as I said in my talk a few moments ago, bar pass is incredibly important to make a strong institution, for the institution to remain strong and to remain accredited. And so what's going to need to happen, I think, here at SULC is the implementation of more data-driven programming. Programming that includes benchmarking, opportunities for reflection, and programming that begins on the first day of law school. Oftentimes at law centers, people think, you can think about the bar during your third year, it's something for later on. That's not the case. And so, as I spoke about a little while ago, Wayne State always had, this is the institution where I am now, always had an amazing, wonderful bar pass rate. And then somewhere we lost our way and stopped paying attention to the bar and started doing different, more creative things. And, that didn't really add to kind of what students needed to be successful passers, to successfully pass the bar examination. And so we went back and revamped the curriculum to make sure that students had opportunity to take bar exam type questions, opportunities to practice earlier in their career. And I think that's what needs to happen here, a more integrated model of bar success, one that begins on day one and ends, obviously, upon graduation. There's going to have to be connectivity and synergy between professors teaching doctrinal classes, legal writing classes, academic success, and the bar prep team. And so because I'm an external person, I don't know how closely they work together now, but I know it's got to be closer than it is right now. Those different teams cannot work in silos. What they're going to have to do is come together with a comprehensive program that helps to kind of track what students need to pass the Louisiana bar. The Louisiana bar is a more obvious test than other bar examinations because you know what's going to be tested. So there's no reason why we can't make sure that students receive that training in the classroom. But I want to say this, we must do more than simply teach to the test because a lawyer must also be able to think very, very well. So that takes a very calculated, specific approach to learning. And it will require revamping the way our classes are offered here, revamping the way professors teach, and everybody being on the same page and being very intentional about what's needed to ensure that students are successful in passing the bar examination. And so if I were to receive the honor to be the next chancellor here, what I would do first is go on a bit of a listening tour and a bit of a study tour to see what's happening. Where did the breakdown occur? You know, that type of thing, and then figure out very quickly what are the resources here in Baton Rouge, here in Louisiana, that we can kind of pull together to get SULC students what they need and what they deserve to be great lawyers. Because we know this, we won't have a law school if we can't pass the bar examination.
Based on what you know about the Law Center, and I concede you know a lot, what do you consider to be the Law Center's strengths and weaknesses? And please discuss how you intend to address them.
The greatest strength is everybody in this room. It's the people and the mission. So if you look at the legacy and history of Southern University Law Center, of course, it was first created as an institution of access for Black people. And it's now become an institution of access for everyone, which is a beautiful, beautiful mission to have. So the strongest thing is the mission. For us, what's going to be important is that we continue to walk in that mission. It's one thing to have a mission, it's something very different to live it out. So it's wonderful that we're able to give people a spot in law school classrooms. But what about graduating them out? What about the bar? What about employment opportunities? What about their experience while they're here? So all those things need to be considered, you know, perhaps strengthened so that we have a stronger, it's already a strong institution, but even stronger than that. So to me, the greatest opportunity here is the mission. In terms of challenges, I think it's pretty clear. The data is clear. I know everyone here has worked very hard. And so it's just time to pivot and change. But the biggest challenge is going to be bar and accreditation. And of course, you've got various challenges in legal education that also fall through here, things about technology, student mental health, you know, those types of things also matter. But here, the biggest issue is going to be bar pass. And so what's going to need to happen is energy from everybody on campus around making sure that that is a singular focus, at least at first, while we work on other things as well. So that's what I view as greatest challenges, greatest opportunities. But I will say this too, you know, we are in this country, we're in a time of very critical change now. And it's important, really all change movements have, if you look at history, have really been instituted and begun at law schools. Think about all the work that's been done to combat discrimination and oppression. Much of that work began with lawyers and in law schools. And so given where we are right now in our country, it's a perfect time for us to think about how to poise SULC as the leader, as the spokesperson, spokes institution, if you will, the leader in determining how to combat some of those things that are happening in our country. And I think that if we all work together, we can do that very, very well.
Thank you for your answer. First of all, thank you for everything that I know your family has done for serving in leadership in the past. I know you mentioned your father being former student bar president and undergrad, and the things that your mother served here as Miss Southern, and things that you have done as a family to help keep Southern University moving forward. I'm a graduate of the class of 2004 here from the law school, and a very proud alum of this law school, and try to invest a lot of my time, talents, and treasure into this school. What I would like to know is, how will you effectively engage with alumni to build a sense of community that will encourage them to open their hearts and wallets to fully support a meaningful strategic plan over the next 4 to 7 years?
Sure. So alumni engagement is extremely, extremely important. Certainly, we would like your money. Certainly. And I'm sure you've given already. I know you do. We would like your funds, but we also want you, right? We want you on campus. We want you on campus to help sometimes teach a course, something with which you are really, really familiar. We want you to come and lead workshops. We want you to help us with that. When we have student events, we want you to show up and speak to our students and pour into them. We want you to be mentors, both formally and informally. All of that requires us talking to you and communicating with you about what the Law Center is doing. And so you probably need to think about, a multimedia campaign, if you will, a multifaceted, rather, multimedia campaign, one where we can communicate our message of strength, our message of access, our message of leadership and lawyering, all of that, to all of our stakeholders more easily, whether that be through social media, whether it be through targeted mailing, whether it be through receptions on campus where we invite you and love on you and talk to you about what we're doing, whatever that is, we've got to do that. So make sure that you remain engaged. We also really want to help, or rather want to encourage alums to engage in continuous giving. So take it out of your check every month, something that maybe you won't miss. I don't know how much everyone makes, but whatever it is you won't miss, $25, $100, $500, whatever it is, so that we begin to create a culture of giving. And it would be nice, really, if when a person graduates, they're even matched with an alumni mentor, someone who can help hold their hand in those first couple of years of law practice when you really don't know quite what you're doing. Something like that might be nice. Those types of things. But the point is that we have to communicate with you and let you know what's happening on campus and get you excited about the work that's being done. But that means we have to be doing exciting work as well. So that would include, communicating about faculty scholarship, about different awards students have gotten, things students have done really well, curricular innovations, financing, fundraising, all those types of things alumni should be informed of, that there's real excitement about what's happening at the Law Center.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
All right. Thank you for coming and welcome to Southern Law.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So my question is, please describe your experience in successfully engaging staff and what strategies would you utilize to increase pride and participation with the staff?
Okay, so it's really important that staff feel as if they are part of the institution. Too often, I'm now at my third institution, and too often at law schools, staff are made to feel as if they're not as important as faculty members, and that's just wrong. It's just incorrect. Every single person on this campus plays an important role. Everyone, no matter how big or small your title is, everyone's job is important. Everyone has a specific function that's going to be important to the lifeblood of this institution. That's going to help make it stronger. And so I employ always a collaborative approach to leadership. Right now at the Damon J. Keith Center for Civil Rights, which is the center I co-direct at my institution at Wayne State Law, I had the chance to work with faculty and staff collaboratively. And I work a lot with staff on both our inward-facing programming and our outward-facing community programming. And we talk, and I know cultures are different places. They call me by my first name. I know it's different places. We talk as if we are colleagues. We speak to each other in a manner that's respectful and civil. And we do brainstorming where every single idea is on the table at first. And then we pare it down. But we always think, as a leader, what I do is I say, hey, remember, these are our goals. We said this is our mission. We said this is our identity. So whatever we do, we can have ideas now, then we'll pare them down by thinking back to who did we say we are? And what did we say as a group that we're going to do? So if collectively we can all rally around one particular plan, one particular strategy, there's no reason why collaboratively we can't work together to execute that plan and that vision. As it relates to morale, people will work hard if they think that you believe in them. If they think that you believe they're important. People will work hard and they'll try because the leader is trying. And so it's got to be a culture of excellence from the top. Leaders, we're all leaders in this room. Leaders show up with being their full selves everywhere they go. But the person who's in charge has to do that first and model that behavior. Then everyone else will follow. And that will help to bring up morale if we're all working around a shared vision that we've all bought into. And if everyone believes that the person in charge is doing their best and trying their best for the institution, it will all fall in place.
Good morning.
Good
So
morning.
you talked about the state of change we're in as a nation, and certainly with that, there may be increases in terms of mental health concerns among higher education institutions. So speak to just mental health overall in terms of how you would address that with faculty, staff, and students here on campus.
Sure. Mental health is incredibly important. Again, we're training leaders for tomorrow, and a leader shows up as their full selves wherever they go with it, which means that you've got to show up with a healthy body, a healthy mind, a healthy spirit, right? So it's very important that we teach our students to take care, and faculty too, and staff, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. You know, there ought to be at least at one of my institutions, the first one where I worked, we had classes on mindfulness and sessions on mindfulness and lawyering, mindfulness and living. Those are the types of things that can be introduced in a soft way as workshops here. Think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. We should talk about ways that students can de-stress. There should be breaks, right? Formalized study breaks and things like that. So students can kind of decompress and make sure that they're taking care of their minds as well as as well as their studies, also themselves, right? Those types of things. And for faculty too, you know, faculty ought to be able to take advantage, and staff take advantage of whatever services are on campus. And if they're not enough, then we should work towards increasing them so that people are of sound mind, right? And also showing up for work. Oftentimes too, I think what happens at institutions is that people begin to fall by the wayside and you never know what happened to them. We should have a culture of asking about each other and checking in and making sure that people are well. And if they're not, helping them do better. But one thing that will help you have kind of a more a facility, an institution rather, where people feel that their mental health is protected is if you've got somebody in charge who's taking care of their own mental health and paying attention. And that's something that I do regularly in my own life.
Hey.
Good morning.
H. LaBurgess, class of 2006. You spoke a lot about your history and your family's history with HBCUs. So I have kind of a 2-3-part question. One, what is your particular interest in HBCUs and its mission at Southern University? Because as we know, the Southern University Law Center and this system has rich history. What are ways you will build on the Southern University's brand? And as an external candidate, what fresh perspectives will you bring to the Law Center?
Okay, so I'll start with the fresh perspectives and I'll work my way back. So I've really been blessed to work at 3 very different types of institutions. So I've seen legal academia through 3 very different lenses. When I first began my career in legal academia, I was at a school called Arizona Summit Law School in Phoenix. It's now defunct. It was owned by a corporation, and it was an access school too. But if we're being honest, and another person in the room was there as well, if we're being honest, at some point, it lost its way. And at some point, access meant profit. It just meant folks in seats, right? And so I've learned that we've got to be responsible, even in providing access. There is a responsibility involved in doing that. I learned that there. Okay, at my next institution, Duquesne University Law School, I learned there, that school is one that's always had a really, really high bar passage rate, always. It's not the highest ranked school, it doesn't have to be. They always had that. So I had to ask myself, why? Well, they have a very targeted academic success program from cradle to grave, very targeted. And they don't let students on to the next level unless you pass certain benchmarks. So I learned that there, right? And then where I am now, I learned too that even if you have students who you categorize as certain types of students, still with bar, you've got to give students what they need to pass it. You can't just make the assumption, right? And so what I've learned from all those places is that it's important to understand the culture of an institution, and it's important to kind of lean into that culture, but also it's important to have been somewhere else and bring some fresh perspectives and have seen something different that you can bring to bear into your institution. So what I've learned to do at those different places is kind of keep my eyes open, listen, learn, benchmark, look back, reflect, and then make more changes to move forward and figure out what needs to be done. And that's something that I would do here. Now you asked me, what's my interest in HBCU? It's a weird question for me because I'm thinking, why wouldn't I be interested in any HBCU, especially this one, given my family's history and legacy? But I believe very strongly in the power, especially in this moment, of HBCUs very strongly in the power of having a safe place to educate our students and others now, because I know too that Southern has become a school of access for everyone. But I believe very strongly in the mission and identity of having a place historically where we could own, that's the only place that we could go. That's how my family ended up at Southern. Southern was the only school that they could go to at the time, and they had to scrape, really, I want to say, my daddy wrote a poem about picking cotton. They had to pick cotton for my oldest aunt to come here and scrape and save such that once my father got here with my aunt Dolores, they had one meal card between them to share because that's all they had. But they were so excited to go to college and learn and make something of themselves. And so I think that's the type of opportunity that HBCUs have given to people throughout for centuries, not for centuries, for years, forever, as long as they've been here, forever. And so I want to be part of that type of culture and mission and identity, especially now in these times. What I think I can bring to the table is something new and something fresh and something different, an outside perspective. So I can say without wavering at all that I am completely and totally committed to the mission of this institution. I have no interest in coming here and trying to do something different in that respect. No way. The mission is so important and it's so special, and in many ways it's sacred. But I do think that it's time to bring in some fresh new ideas that help to support the mission and help to enhance it such that the institution becomes stronger. And we can all do that together if we work together and really, really rally around one common theme, one common goal. If we do that, we'll have strength for the future.
Morning. Thank you for joining us. Here at the Law Center, we have two tracks. We have a common law and a civil law track. Students have concern that the common law track fails to fully distinguish itself from the civil law track. Exactly how do you plan to improve the structure of the common law track to ensure that students are getting a quality classroom experience?
So I've had a look at the curriculum to try to the best I could from where I stand, to try to compare the offerings in the common law and the civil law tracks, and to understand a bit about how those two tracks came to be. So my understanding is that the common law track was created and opened up because SULC was beginning to get students from other places who might not want to practice Louisiana law, and that may still be the case now. I'm not sure, but what I do know is this. What I would like to do as chancellor is really do a deep dive into the curriculum and think about what is serving the students and what is not. And I think it's important that we take the time to share, or rather to compare what's happening with our sister schools. Think about kind of what are they offering? What do their curricula look like? What are their bar pass rates? What about student satisfaction? And do do some research into maybe what our offerings should be and what they should look like, such that students come out with a full understanding of whether they're on the common law track or the civil law track, what that should look like, and what those offerings should be. So I think a curricular refresh is likely in order. From where I stand, it's hard to tell the difference between the offerings. I know what it says on paper. I've read it multiple times, but it's hard to tell the complete difference between the two and whether the common law offerings are serving students. It sounds like perhaps there's some question as to whether it is, which means that there needs to be some research and data done around and data gathered around what might be most successful, most helpful rather, to our students. And then there's got to be faculty buy-in about these courses, because of course we have the concept of shared governance, right? Faculty do have a say and what the curriculum should look like. So we've got to have some buy-in around that as well. So taking the time to figure out what the offerings are, how they are serving our students, whether they are helpful in their pursuit of taking another state's bar examination, all of those things. And then of course, doing some research with our sister schools, those things will all help us figure out what that curriculum should look like. And then a commitment to doing the hard work to changing what needs to be fixed. And I think that that's going to be major work to come, changing what we all decide as a group needs to be made different. That will require lots of work, but we can do it.
Attorney Jefferson Bullock, I believe this will be the last question. As you know, Southern University Law Center offers a part-time evening program. How would you ensure that the part-time evening program receives the quality of professors and academic rigor as the full-time program does?
So again, I'm in my third institution. Every institution I've been at has had an evening program, and I've always taught in it. I love teaching evening students. Evening students are different. Oftentimes they're older. They've had different experiences. They come with a different perspective. They're actually sometimes, I'm not going to say, everybody's committed, but they appear to be slightly more committed sometimes because they're doing so much to get there in the first place, right? They've gone to work all day and they're showing up. So the evening program cannot be, the part that we kind of throw under the table and kick to the side. It's really important that it's a strong program. So I know lots of lots of faculty do not like to teach at night because they feel as though it's night. It's time to do something different. I've taught night, not every semester, but many semesters I've been teaching. I found it to be quite wonderful. And so for those, there are many who want to teach night. If that's the case, they should be allowed to do so. But still, there must be evaluative processes even for those classes, right? To make sure that the faculty there are giving high quality teaching to those students. And then if there are not enough full-time professors who want to teach at night, then perhaps there should be a rotating schedule. Because it shouldn't be the case that night students only have adjunct professors. I'm sure many of whom are wonderful, but they should also have full-time profs with them as well. So there should be a rotating schedule whereby every couple of semesters you're going to teach night, right? But not forever, just this semester. And then a couple semesters later, you're going to teach night again so that you have high quality professors in those different spaces. So it's really important that we protect it. Again, if we're going to be a school of access, it's important to give that access to people who also have to work and cannot afford to just go to school full time. I'm fully supportive of having a very, very strong evening program because I've seen how such programs can change lives at my various institutions.
Thank you. At this time, we'll offer you a closing statement. Both are in person.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me. I know that many of you could be doing something totally different with is it Wednesday? Who knows? With your Wednesday morning, something totally different than this. And so I want to thank you for taking time to come and listen to me today. I also want to tell you that I am fully committed to the mission and values and identity of this institution, and it is my desire to lead it and to do so with an eye towards the future so that this can be as strong of an institution as possible. Southern University is a beautiful place. Southern University Law Center is a very special place, and it will be my honor to serve you as its next chancellor. Thank you and be blessed.
All right, that concludes our open session with Attorney Bullock. At this time, we have a few minutes if any of you would like to meet and greet with Jefferson Bullock, and then we'll proceed. Reminding to our faculty, there is a faculty session that you all will have with Attorney Jefferson Bullock. We invite you all to the faculty session that will take place today. So please make sure that you attend that for all of our faculty. Thank you. Yeah, so it's at.
Yeah, she's.
Everybody did that as part of their.
Okay. So she'll go to Jim and they'll put on, she'll talk it all.
We use both of them.
And then we'll give it to it.
About very. She's pretty.
Well done, committee.
Thank you. Right, I know, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's gonna probably, I just read it. But it's the, you know, what you got, and I don't think I'll be.
I think there's one other small one.
Gotta relearn. 11, and it may off. But we gotta.
Also, she was still there.
Yeah, she gotta. Right.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
One spot for next, one bill, next one, yes. I mean, I get it.
There it is, look.
Send me the list of. You know, what people. Let me get it a bit.
We can take that. Right to or local. All the way to Mississippi, all the way up.
That's. Really? I'm not gonna. Right now.
I don't know what exactly. I'll be practicing with her after.
I wanted her to clarify.
Yeah.
Were y'all here for a living? Yeah.
But you know.